Before we begin, thank you very much to Adonis W for joining the Patreon campaign over at patreon.com/TJOmega. We got a bit to go before we hit the Beast Wars mark. Admittedly, yeah, we took a plunge, but I know December is a busy month for people, an expensive month for a lot of people. I tell people don't worry about paying me. Just take care of yourselves first before you give me anything, and I stick to that. I have confidence we'll get back to that point. I have confidence that I will be talking about every single Beast Wars episode and doing 2 videos a week at some point. We'll get there. We'll get there. And I thank everyone for sticking around, and I thank you for helping keep the channel alive. So, today it's the beginning of the week, so I thought it's time for another review, another news roundup, because there's a lot of weird things that came up, and a lot of new rumors popping up. So I thought it's time to discuss a few of these, just to get them out of the way and get my thoughts in the universe. Because that's what I apparently have a YouTube channel for, is to get my thoughts out into the universe. And we're going to start with something that I thought was actually kind of fun and weird. So, over on the Rodimus Primal YouTube channel, they had an interview with Bob Budiansky, one of the original creators of the mythos of Transformers. He was one of the guys, he was the editor in time with Marvel. He was the one that was like kind of leading the way on the early days of Transformers, and the guy who wrote most of the original tech specs and came up with the original names. So, something that he confirmed, a long-standing rumor, the tech specs for Starscream, Skywarp, and Thundercracker were all rotated. So, Skywarp having a super high rank on the back of his packaging, while Starscream's was super low, even though he's named as second in commander. That was a goof on Hasbro's part. He even shows the written proof, like the original design documents for actually coming up with the tech specs for them. So finally, like, it made, like, because okay, this is one of those things that was obvious back in the day. I mean, it's not, nothing like shocking that, oh yeah, that's actually what we thought, what we've spent 35 plus years thinking happened is actually what happened. But it's cool to have it confirmed. Like get it out of the way that, yes, it's not names or anything that was swapped or roles or anything. No, Hasbro bungled the numbers. So, fun to finally have that confirmed after so long. It's weird to me that Transformers has been around for so long. We still have things, even in G1, that are still, like, being, like, confirmed. And, like, a lot of information that still hasn't gotten out for some reason. Alright, new toy reveal. Nendoroid, from the Good Smile Company, the same people who bring you Figma, they have announced they are doing not only G1 Optimus Prime, but also Megatron in super adorable Kotobukiya. I keep wanting to say Kotobukiya for every toy line these days. I made that mistake in the last video. But yeah, no, Good Smile has announced these 2 adorable things. Now, if you've never experienced a Nendoroid, most often a Nendoroid will gain its articulation not by individual parts, but by having swappable components. You take off the arms and put on arms that are bent already. So the toy can get into signature poses, but it can't actually pose, which actually keeps it from having too many exposed joints or things. From the looks of this one does actually have correct articulation. I can see the little sockets where the hinges go to. Obviously, the universal shoulders are correct. So these are pretty rare that fully articulated Nendoroids are a thing. So it's kind of cool to see. And yeah, if you like the chibi style, yeah, they're very heavy on the chibi style. Huge head, tiny body. Optimus, I think, looks fine. There's something, like, really weird about Megatron, because there's nothing cute about how his head is sculpted at all. Like, Optimus looks like a kid wearing a Optimus Prime hat that's too big. Like the head is like the head is like way too big for the face. Like it literally looks like they stuck the Megatron from head off of a much bigger Megatron toy. It's a little bit weird. But good for those who like that style, and good for those who are Nendoroid collectors. We got a little bit of Transformer love happening over there. So, rumor mill time. We have a couple new leaks that got out. The first one is a Diaclone deco of Ironhide. I believe it's the Earthrise mold, if I'm looking at it right. Might be... Let me double check. Yeah, Earthrise. Just double checking, yeah. So, The idea here is it's based on his Diaclone colors, the original black color scheme that the toy had. I'm not crazy about Diaclone repaints. They tend to be a little bit boring to me. I don't have any attachment to Diaclone, and there's no characterization in Diaclone because they were piloted robots. It's interesting to have them come back, especially as alternate characters, but more or less it always feels like just an excuse to repaint a mold. You know, like what else do you do with Sunstreaker if not repaint him into his two other Diaclone color schemes, red and the police? Well, what you do is you do alternator dead end, which no one's ever done out of a Sunstreaker mold, and it really upsets me. I'm not terribly crazy about this one. He looks pretty plain. He looks pretty unpainted. I guess for the Diaclone collectors, this is going to be great because it might be the first time that design and color scheme has actually had a head. But I'm more excited for the other leak that came out. The other one was this really weird, also mistransformed photo of a remold of Waspinator into Buzzsaw. Completely obvious redeco, completely obvious remolding. Nothing shocking about it, but really glad that it is happening. And he looks really nice. The colors are spot on. I like the robot mode head because, of course, you got to separate the two. And that was the brilliance of retroactively. Like, they couldn't have known 25 years ago, but the fact that they had the mutant head gimmick in Beast Wars makes it so perfect for doing redecos and molds today. You have Shadow Panther, who gets to have a completely new head that's still authentic to the original toy, and now we get to see the same thing with Buzzsaw. It's a very convenient way of separating figures out. I really wish they'd done it for T-Rex. I would have actually gone for T-Rex if it wasn't for that. So this I'm looking forward to. I always really like the colors on Buzzsaw. Don't know how the green shoulders are going to look in Beast mode when there shouldn't be any green on his Wasp mode. I'm not sure how I feel about the black wings either. That might be just like a little bit too dark for me. Still, happy we're getting this. Hope we get a few more of these weird ones. I mean, we are because, you know, we also got our first in-hand shots of Tigatron, or the Mutant Tigatron, from the Golden Disc set, and he's looking amazing. So, for those not in the know, those who hadn't seen it in previous videos, this is based on how Tigatron was supposed to look before he came out. When they concepted the character, shoulders backwards in the shot. When they concepted this character, of course, he was going to be a normal tiger, but Hasbro decided we had too many yellow, orange, brown kind of beasts early on in the line, you know. And they decided, no, we need some variety on the color scheme, so white tiger it was. And this one just kind of went by the wayside. Interesting now that Tigatron has a new Voyager toy that we are finally getting a proper like what you would think of as a tiger. And it looks fantastic too. Like a little bit mistransformed here, but yeah, like he looks so good. He looks so good, and I'm really looking forward to getting him in hand. It's always fascinating to me when things like this get made because it feels like we're getting something that we were never supposed to have. That forgotten bit of history, you know? Looks super cool. I'm really excited for that one to come in. We also got in-hand shots of our new Kingdom Blaster figure, thanks to Lone Dragon over on TFW 2005. So we can now confirm for sure he is definitely not any kind of remold of Soundwave. He's got all different engineering, all different parts. They're obviously different sizes from each other. So Blaster remains like one of the taller of the Autobots. Let's see, what else do we have? Also, yeah, of course, we have Rewind here, looking really nice. Or Eject, I'm sorry. I always get those two backwards. But Eject here, he's in scale with Soundwave's cassettes, but he actually gets elbows, so good on him. I'm just going to observe that this is a toy that's brand new, and I can already see stress marks in all of his clear plastic ball sockets. Just saying. And then we have a comparison shot of all the sizes. Let's see. Yeah, you can see, like, obviously similar, but definitely different. They are definitely going for completely different things and have different engineering. So that's really cool to see. It's reassuring that we're finally getting a blaster that is his own thing and is not meant to ever be a Soundwave, nor was it previously a Soundwave. So we can finally have the two audio rivals of the Autobots and Decepticons together and have them unique from each other. Super cool. Hopefully we get more cassettes for Blaster, because there's a bunch in his batch of minions that we've never seen on the retail shelves since the original. Or at least none that's worth noting. You know, I'm not going to count those discs because I know they're a little bit weird. But yeah, hopefully we get more of that. So let's talk a little bit of rumor and speculation. So Wreckgar39 at TFW 2005, he's a credible source of info and leaks, and he's got a bunch more to leak to us. And this is about Legacy Menasor. So the last time we heard about this toy was the Motormaster figure itself was going to be very large, and the trailer itself was going to be most of the body of Menasor unfolding into parts where the arms attach on to the sides, but the legs on the back just have like sockets for the cars to plug into, which would make it more accurate to how Menasor looked in the G1 cartoon. And when we saw drag strip, everyone kind of assumed we're going to get dead on G1 accurate because the Combiner War Menasor was anything but, and it's like the most inaccurate of all of them. Save for Lio Kaiser. That's a different story. But in this case, we might not get that exactly. Wreckgar notes that there's going to be a lot of touches from previous versions of Stunticons in this set to differentiate it. Dragstrip's the only one that is 100% G1. Dead End reportedly is going to have some purple windows and windshields as an homage to his Revenge of the Fallen incarnation. Wild Rider gets the chainsaw from the Stunticon job. Motormaster himself has RID 15 references in his deco. The most interesting one of all this is Breakdown is actually based on Transformers Prime Breakdown, which includes the vehicle itself, which is interesting because I think I remember when Prime came out, it was there was already some weirdness to how he was designed because of the Stunticon names. But this is interesting. This also does the thing that the Combiner War one did, which was instead of having so many cars in the deluxe class, they swap one out for variety's sake. So we're getting a little SUV style truck instead of a fourth car. And I can easily see them doing a Selects version of Breakdown at some point that's a remold of Wild Rider or Dead End that might correct that and give you 4 G1 accurate cars. Easily done. Easily done. But it's an interesting choice, and it also makes it more interesting when you remember that we also have rumor of a Prime Breakdown releasing in Legacy. So those two can be reunited. Although they're not supposed to be the same size. That part's a little bit weird. But it's definitely an interesting twist. It sounds like the combined mode is still going to look very much like G1 Menasor, but the individual figures are going to have enough to separate themselves out from the Combiner War versions, which is an interesting way to split that down the middle. And I could probably see, like, at some Titan class gift set at some point of all of them in, like, spot on G1, just for the people who would want that. Because that's what we got for a few other, that's what we got for, like, Abominus, for instance. And I could see them easily doing that as well. So it's definitely makes me look more. It makes me look forward to the Stunticons a little bit more, knowing there's some surprises on the way. Now, the big rumor of the week, and there's actually a couple of these stacked. So first up, we learned that IDW is scheduled to lose the Transformers license in 2022. This came from Bleeding Cool from San Diego Comic-Con 2021 because the big publishers weren't there. There's a lot of information getting divulged that normally is a little bit more micromanaged. So to quote Bleeding Cool, one such nugget was the news that IDW Publishing, based just up the road in San Diego, is to lose their license to produce comic books based on the Transformers franchise from Hasbro. This is also going to lose G.I. Joe in the process. Now, IDW has already lost the Marvel Action line, because they were doing kid-based titles for Marvel Comics, and the All Ages line for Star Wars. And then Dark Horse picked that up. So they're already bleeding a lot of their big licenses, and now it looks like they're going to be doing it again. This is concerning news. The comic book industry is already struggling a lot these days, and to throw something like this in is a little bit concerning, because I question IDW's choices recently with Transformers, but I've ultimately enjoyed their run with the franchise. I don't really want to see them lose it, but at the same time, I think it might be good to have a new comic book company, new set of writers and editors working on it that might have a different direction and give us something a little bit more interesting than what we're getting now. Because like right now, IDW is not capturing my interest in the least. But this is also combined with a rumor that said John Barber is no longer IDW publisher, editor-in-chief, executive, and then the, well, we'll get into that. But this is again from Bleeding Cool, who, found out that Barber has left the company. He's still listed on social media as the editor-in-chief. IDW and Barber have not commented on this rumor whatsoever so far, but it's substantiated by the fact that IDW posted a job listing for the position of executive editorial director. So there's an editor job now available at IDW, very high up, and we no longer, and then this information about John Barber. Now, if you don't know, John Barber, his name is attached to almost 200 issues of the IDW run, making him one of the most prolific writers in Transformers. And he is extremely studious about continuity. Like, the continuity in IDW 1.0 is basically down to him and how well he worked on it and kept everything in line. When some weird gaffe became a big plot point later on, that was him doing damage control and doing it in really clever ways. He was always really good at like twisting those little mistakes into major things that seem like they were intended all along. And that's what a good editor does, is they take the lemons and make lemonade. And his lemonade was delicious. So this is upsetting to see that he is no longer, but at the same time, if IDW is losing the license, then maybe that's not the worst thing in the world, you know? I don't know where Barber's going next. I don't know where the Transformer IP is going next, comic book wise. But if they could go to the same company together, I wouldn't be opposed to that. I would love to see him like handle the universe again when he's got different writers and different people in charge. You know, maybe not like, letting him basically do whatever he wants, which is more fun. Now, of course, if you didn't like, you're not going to like that idea if you didn't like the IDW run at all. I'm just throwing it out there in the universe. However, it does make it interesting. So I hope, if this is true, I hope Barber lands somewhere where he's happy and handling crazy convoluted universes as well as he is now. And for the Transformers, hopefully it lands somewhere with someone who wants to do something fresh and different with the franchise rather than just tell the same story of the war on Cybertron all over again and the same story we've heard. I would really love to see a different take on Transformers and give us something a little bit fresh and interesting out of the characters that we've known for almost 40 years now. So that's my news roundup. Those are my thoughts and my opinions. Let me know in the comments if you have any, if you disagree with me in any way. But also, yeah, if you liked it, leave a like, leave a subscription. Really trying to push toward 40,000 subs before the end of the year. That's like personal goal to myself. If we make it, that'd be great. That'd be my Christmas present. If you guys could get me to 40,000, I would love that. So until then, until next time. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.